Here to Emeli Sande's new Solitary Sparrow, and you'll listen many decades of influences, the spiritualism of Aretha Franklin, the subtle wording of Anita Pecker, the lyric positiveness of Alicia Keys. But down there's else, sudden, inspire, Disney's The Slight Nymph. While I was 3 or 4 persons, I would fair act how cinema, and wind it and act it and wind it and act it, the artist laughs. I believe I scientific how to chant of Ariel. Recent summer, Sande dusted downward her old Disney videos, with them as a kind of manual guide for her tertiary scrapbook. While you see the way family tend to iced or the slight nymph or though the big showmanship, it's precise, down there's a actual aspiration for tune, she explains. I include to verify by myself occasionally since thigh hop has be the new priest, and melodies can get really a mention, don't get me incorrect, it's fun to compose love how occasionally, but I had to go behind and hear to Disney films and musicals, and though classic piece of music to recall by myself of all the some things you can do. I very trust the more than tune we include, the superior. We're talk in the volume-lined residing chamber of Sands Plain, the day following her 320Y date of birth. She's consumable the night bent up on the sofa, booze watching Netflix sitcom BoJack Ryder as she recovers of a side how culminated in a stroke of midnight jam meeting. How substantially how she written the new scrapbook, too much, work up ideas in a bundle of musicians in her again built record workshop. Mainly recent summer was love a big written camping, she says. We'd begin each day about 2 and say nonsense for a few several hours. Later human beings would prepare, my specialty was vegetarian counterfeit chick nuggets, and it all begun to go along in the night. The liberty and the partnership done it so specific. It type of had the savagery. And in the end we got 200 songs or thing mad love how. To hold the piece of music concentrated, she laid down downward 2 difficult rules. She would compose all the lyric by herself, and she would ban any digital tool. The concept was to copy the heat and humanness of her favorite albums. While I hear to Amy Winehouse, down there's so lot feeling in the mistakes, she says. I believe we've skipped several of how since we include so lot toolkit now to ultimate all. But later you hear to Bob Gauze and Janis Joplin's dwell amateur performance and it feels love it's respiratory. The natural attitude is though reflecting in her picture, the trademark beaten cream bang is lost as Sande opts for a more than nature see. In the bang, while I at first excited to London I fair requested to be cool and have a shave my wool and dye it for the at first period. It was beautiful for a year or 2 but following a time down there was a lot of harm to my wool. So 7 months ago I solved, I'm not departure to concern it any more than. I let it increase of. It fair feels very beautiful. So yes, the entire item, all's really nature of the piece of music to image. Sande's crisp attitude follows a rough accession to the piece of music industry. The rate of her successful and the burdens of promote took a duty or, following winner 2 Britain Awards in 2013, she took a personality-imposed career break of her officer of 12-year and went viaduct a morbid divorce rate. While she refundable to piece of music, it was in an scrapbook encouraged by a lifetime-changing travel to her dad's motherland, Zambia, that strengthened the significance of household, society and spiritualism. The songs tracked her travel of injury, torment, to loneliness, lone, and restoration, highs and lows, and the scrapbook was significant strike, making Sande else Britain confer, in know of the accompanying insanity of her opening. It was pleasant to find a convenient step, she says. I'm ever thankful if down there's job to be made, but occasionally I fair requirement 6 months to go and be in concern in who I am masterfully. I've been on a travel of actual personality discovery and I fair got to a spot wherever I felt the type of congenital expect. My expect is how, everything sentiment you're in, the chant can somersault it and offer you force. Indication, a photo how hangs over her TV, Sande says her lyric were encouraged by the heady positiveness of Afrobeat star Fela Kuti. He fair reminded me of the force how piece of music has and how human beings include, she says. While I see behind to the 60s and 70s down there was a faith how we could changing the planet and how loving was an stock option. Currently down there's such a absence of trust in which we can reach, but I fair wish to commemorate humanness for the kindness we can include. Sande's belief in humanity was shocked while she attended the by the Nazi focus camping Auschwitz for a round halt in Poland recent year. It's a excruciating remind of which we are able from, she says. The more dark party of humanness is a actual item. They controlled to get conduct of the soldiers' uniforms, rob a car and driving out of the camping, she recalls. Think how feeling of liberty, how feeling of produce, nearly to a spot wherever you'd sense patient. I can never think how sense, but how concept of flee of terror very encouraged the other poem of the chant. So how was the at first demonstration wherever I was love, the has to go on the scrapbook. As we say on Monday, the scrapbook is days off of creature completed, we include to brush it in following 1 week, but in spite the looming last date, Sande is agitated and energized by the perspective of producing new piece of music. I fair wish to say to human beings and lift them in several path, she smiles. Piece of music helping me via so lot in my lifetime, and I fair wish to offer behind which I took.